There's a point in films where something stops feeling impressive and starts feeling fake. And one of the many ways to get there? Super strength, not because it's unrealistic, that's expected, but because a lot of movies use it in a way that quietly destroys impact, tension, and immersion. You'll watch a character punch through a building and feel absolutely nothing. No weight, danger, or consequence, just pixels moving, and the problem isn't the power itself, it's how the movie treats it. Because when super strength is done wrong, it doesn't just make a character feel powerful, it makes the entire world feel fake. Super strength should raise the stakes. Instead, in a lot of movies it removes them. Because once a character becomes physically strong enough, and the movie doesn't adjust around it, everything becomes easier. Nothing feels threatening and the audience checks out. So the moment that they realize this character can't really lose, the scene is over. Not physically, but emotionally. Superman in Justice League is probably the cleanest example of how to accidentally remove all tension from a scene. When he shows up in the final battle, everything changes, but not in a good way. Before that, there's at least an attempt at struggle. Characters are reacting, coordinating, barely holding things together, then Superman arrives, and the entire conflict collapses. There's a specific moment where Steppenwolf attacks him. This should feel like impact. Two powerful forces colliding. Instead, Superman doesn't move, brace, or react. He just stands there, completely unaffected. And from that moment on, the fight is over, even though it technically continues. Because the audience understands something immediately, nothing in this scene can challenge him. The rest of the fight turns into a showcase. He freezes the axe, outspeeds Steppenwolf, and overpowers him effortlessly. No build-up, no resistance, no uncertainty. And without these, there's no tension. Without tension, there's no immersion. It stops feeling like a fight and starts feeling like a victory lap. Thor: Love and Thunder removes tension by making everything feel light. Take almost any fight scene involving Thor. He throws weapons across massive distances, knocks enemies aside effortlessly, moves through environments without resistance, but nothing reacts in a meaningful way. There's no follow-through, momentum, or environmental consequence. Even big moments feel temporary, like the world resets after each action, and because of that, nothing sticks. There's also no sense of control being required. Thor never misjudges his strength, struggles to hold back, causes unintended damage which removes any layer of tension, because real super strength should be something you manage. Here, it's something you ignore. Hobbs and Shaw are where things completely fall apart, because the movie clearly gives Hobbs some level of superhuman strength, but refuses to define it. In one scene, they struggle with grounded obstacles. In another, they're holding helicopters in place with chains, no build-up, escalation, or consistency. The helicopter scene is the perfect example. It's visually appealing but doesn't feel earned, because nothing before it suggests he's capable of that level of force. So instead of raising the stakes, it breaks them, because once the audience realizes the rules can change at any moment, tension disappears. Stakes feel artificial. Immersion collapses. Black Adam runs into a similar issue, but in a different way. Instead of inconsistent strength or weightless action, it removes tension by making the main character too dominant too early. From the moment Black Adam is introduced, there's almost no sense of limitation. Take the early fight scenes. He shrugs off bullets like they're nothing, throws enemies around with zero resistance, moves faster than anyone can react. And while that looks cool at first, it quickly becomes predictable and feels like he's barely trying. There's no escalation, moment where things get difficult or sense that he has to adapt. Even when facing stronger opponents later, the film struggles to establish real stakes, because we've already seen that nothing really affects him, and that's the core problem. When strength is introduced without meaningful resistance or progression, it flattens the entire narrative, because if the character can solve every problem the same way, from the start there's nothing left to build toward. Now compare that to films that actually understand what super strength should do. Man of Steel treats strength like a force the world struggles to contain. Take the Smallville fight. Superman is thrown through a gas station. Not into it or through it, the building doesn't just collapse. It erupts outward and the motion continues. He doesn't stop at impact, he carries through it. Then look at the Metropolis fight with Zod. They slam into multiple skyscrapers in sequence. Each hit redirects motion, transfers force, creates chain reactions. You can follow the movement, you can feel the impact. And even when Superman tries to restrain Zod, there's resistance. He's not in full control, which creates tension because even with all that power, it still feels like a struggle. The Incredibles understands something many films ignore. Strength doesn't remove difficulty, it changes it. In the train scene, when Mr. Incredible grabs the train, the ground cracks beneath him and his body is dragged forward. He's strong enough to stop it, but not instantly. There's delay, resistance, and adjustment. He has to reposition, compensate, fight the force, and that's what makes the scene engaging. Because strength alone isn't solving the problem, control is. In the first fight with the Omnidroid, at first he grabs it, overpowers it, and uses brute force, and for a moment that works. He's able to physically wrestle with it and briefly gain the upper hand, but then the Omnidroid adapts. As the fight continues, he goes from controlling the situation to being thrown around and forced on the defensive. He's still strong, but now he's reacting, and that's what makes both scenes work. Because in both cases, strength alone isn't enough. He has to adjust, compensate, and actually think about how he's using it, which keeps the tension alive. In the opening scene for Infinity War, Thanos feels powerful because he's controlled. During the first fight, Hulk fights with chaos, wide swings, raw force. Thanos responds with precision, timing, and efficiency. He blocks, counters, and dismantles Hulk's attack pattern, not by overpowering it, but by controlling the flow of the fight with no wasted movement. That restraint makes him feel more dangerous than characters who rely on brute force. The Incredible Hulk makes super strength feel unbridled and without restraint. During the final fight, every movement feels excessive. When Hulk swings, he's not just hitting Abomination, he's tearing through everything around him. The environment doesn't just react, it gets destroyed. He grabs a car and uses it as a weapon, and it works because it feels like too much force. Not precise or efficient, just raw power being thrown around. Then there's the thunderclap, where he slams his hands together and releases a shockwave outward. And what sells on top of the visual is how the world reacts. The force blasts through the environment, debris gets pushed back. The air itself feels displaced. It's not just a cool move. It feels like an actual release of force that affects everything in its radius. The film treats strength like a problem, not a solution. Hulk isn't in full control. Every hit creates collateral damage. Every action has consequences beyond the fight itself, and that adds tension. The difference isn't realism, it's consistency. Bad examples remove resistance, ignore consequences, change rules when convenient. Good examples transfer force, respect momentum, create limitations. Super strength at its best should make a scene feel more intense, more dangerous, more unpredictable. But when it's handled poorly, it does the exact opposite. It simplifies everything, removes struggle, consequence, and impact. Once that happens, the movie stops feeling immersive. The core mistake many films make is treating super strength like a video game upgrade. Bigger punches, bigger explosions. But scale doesn't create immersion, interaction does. Because the moment a character becomes strong enough to ignore the world around them, the audience starts ignoring the movie. Super strength shouldn't feel effortless. It should feel like something that constantly needs to be managed. Something that affects movement, environment, decision-making, because real power creates problems. A super strong character shouldn't move normally. They should adjust how they interact with objects, compensate for their own force, think before acting. Even simple actions should feel different, because if they can destroy a wall, everything becomes something they have to control. If someone has that level of strength, the environment should always respond. Floors crack, objects break, impacts carry through, not just during big moments. Strength shouldn't remove tension. It should redirect it. Instead of, can they lift this? The question becomes, can they lift this without breaking everything? That shift creates stakes. Every use of strength should have a cost. Not always physical, but something. Because without consequence, actions lose meaning. The best depictions of super strength don't just make characters feel unstoppable, they make the world feel fragile. They make every movement feel like it could go wrong. They make power feel like something that needs to be controlled. Because the moment strength has no impact, it stops being impressive. And the moment it stops being impressive, the audience stops caring. And if you made it this far, consider liking, subscribing, and commenting for more breakdowns. Thanks for watching.